Hello, graphic designers. In today's class, we're going to be applying various selection methods and using curves to add a little color correction to images from the most recent club fair so that tomorrow we can create a collage that looks a little bit like this. And we know that the first thing that we're going to need to do is take a gander in this web album. You're going to see all the cool photos from the club fair from a few weeks ago. You're then going to reference this spreadsheet. You're going to find your name in the specific photo that you're doing. If you want to swap with your buddy, that's great. Just make sure it's an even swap because we want to have uniformity, and make sure that all the images have PNGs. Quick refresher, we know that to create a PNG, you're going to use the magnetic lasso and you're going to do an amazing selection, much better than the one I'm doing right now. We know that after we have a selection, you're going to press Command C. We're going to then select File New, press Enter, Command V, and then we got to unlock that background and delete it, crucially, so we can save it. But this is not the selection that we want, right? So I'm going to delete this. We're going to return here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is press Command D, and I'm going to zoom in some. And I know a few things. Here we've got Lucy and Willa, and I recognize that when I use the magnetic lasso, it might be a little bit difficult rather, to get nice selections on sort of top of their head right here, because we can see the selection isn't really sure where to go. So what I'm going to do right now is when we zoom in, that doesn't look amazing, right? If I press Command C, File New, Enter, Command V, is this a great selection right there? No, not at all, not even a little bit. So what we're going to do is, and I would actually suggest you do this regardless of the background, is zoom out, and rather than using the magnetic lasso on top of their head, I'm going to right click and select the elliptical marquee. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click, all right, and then if I hold down spacebar, I can then shift this selection around so I can get sort of a nice smooth selection right there. So that looks pretty decent. Nice. And then because the add to selection is highlighted, right, what we can do is the same method right here. And you know, it's not going to be perfect and we can live with this, but it's going to look better than the alternative. And I'm actually going to do multiple ellipses right here. Not bad. Again, I'm holding spacebar to shift this around until I get it exactly where I want it. Now I release the spacebar, and that looks pretty good right there. And then I'll wrap it up right here. All right, these chain link fences behind individuals are pretty challenging for selections. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch back to the magnetic lasso. I got the add to selection highlighted. I'm gonna go like so. All right, and we can always clean that up later. Great. And I see a few other things. I can see that right here, for example, it's a straight line right across. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch from the magnetic lasso to the polygon lasso, making sure the add to selection is highlighted. And for anywhere we have rectangles, I'm just going to actually click once and click like so. And this looks amazing. All right. That was easy, right? So we just got that sign perfectly. I'm going to zoom in, magnetic lasso. You guys are going to do an outstanding job. All right, so we know how selection tools work. We know how to create PNGs. I'm going to wrap this up with a quick selection right now, so we can talk about adding a little color correction. Now, we did this once, but this technique requires a lot of finesse and takes a little bit of practice. So we've got our selection. You guys are going to do a much better job. I'm going to press Command C, pretending we did an amazing job. File New, Enter, Command V. And I'm going to hold off on deleting the background for a moment, just so you can guys see this. Clearly, we need to fix this up. But if we press Command M, and that won't work because I'm making this video tutorial. Alternatively, you go to Image, Adjustments, and then Curves, but you guys are going to be pressing Command M. This window pops up, right? And we remember that we want to make the lights a little bit lighter and the darks a little bit darker. So we're going to be creating a slight S-curve. So we can see if I drag it up like this, that's way too light, right? The right side of this sort of coordinate plane right here is the lights, and this lower left-hand corner is the dark. So I'm going to make the lights a little bit lighter, and then this area is the dark, so I'm going to make the darks a little bit darker. And when I shift this over and I press OK, and we zoom out a little bit, we can see the difference. So here's the after, before, after, before. So it's kind of muted, it's kind of gray, but when we apply curves, it pops. It looks much better. We're then, of course, going to unlock the background layer. We're going to drag it to the garbage can. We're going to save this as a PNG, so it's going to be save as, and it's going to be first name, last name, so I'm going to do Drozd, and then we'll just do Club Fair. Or actually, in this case, we'll do Amnesty, the name of the club. Amnesty International. And we're not saving it as a PSD. We're not saving it as a JPEG. Instead, as a PNG, because we want that transparency, you're going to save it, you're going to upload it, and if you finish this in time, you can certainly start another. We're going to share all of the PNGs with one another in tomorrow's class. Good luck.